Yes, first of all, Nikos, congratulations on becoming PgMP. And I was looking at the scorecard. It was a beautiful scorecard, like four above target and one target, and which means overall above target with one of the most challenging exam. We're really proud to have you as our certified PgMP. Mr. Sami, if you can share your journey, please.
Yes, first of all, heartiest congratulations to Mr. Nico. And before we start, let me share all of you the scorecard that he got today in such a difficult exam that he got four above target. Only in benefits domain was a target. But starting from his journey, it's a journey of dedication and journey of consistency. Because we were talking before, we have students who passed in 2 months, 3 months, but it took really 6 months. He's from our batch number 11, but I still was checking the record. We had the first call on 21st of November 2024, and then we started to work on his application. He started to watch the videos. He started to write the application. Then his application was passed on 20th of December before the Christmas break, and then officially our classes started on 5th of January. But from day one, when we joined, he was consistent. Every day he was doing something, and he never had the answer that today I'm not doing anything. So even he was reading one page of the booklet, he was dedicated. He read very hard, and he always said that I will only appear once I'm when he is himself satisfied. And that is the reason that he got such a beautiful score today. So well done, Mr. Nico. And now, if you can share your journey in your own words.
Thank you very much, Mr. Abdul. Thank you, Mr. Amir. Let me start by saying something that I also told you in private, Mr. Abdul. So I passed the PMP exam on November 12 last year, and during the first 6 months, I had an instructor which was not so good, and this made me lose 6 months of my time. So I was really so 6 months was a waste of time for me for the PMP, and then I studied myself. Okay, so I was when I passed the PMP, it was all above target, but anyhow, I was really skeptic with any instructor for the PGMP. So I approached Mr. Amir, and I had done also some research for you. So, but I was very skeptic. This is the truth. But anyhow, to cut a long story short, I was really happy. I was really pleased by your approach. Very structured. So you have the video recording, and every video has some questions following. So you could how to say combine the theory with practice. Very good. It was very helpful for me. So and every time we cover the material through the video session, through the booklet as well, which is how to say, which is a summary, let's say, of the PGMP book, but it's very dense, but it's very good for understanding. And in the end, we had the simulator with all these questions, and this was also very good. So I think that the way that you have structured the course is really good, because this certification is very tough. The exam is very demanding. I finished the exam with headache. Perhaps I am old guy, but it's very tough. So you cannot cut corners, and it is only through a structured approach that I think someone can pass this exam. And you facilitated a lot with all this. So I really thank you.
Thank you very much for your kind words. So before we go to the application part,
Mr.
because
Sami, I really like what he said. Before the exam got over, he had a headache. So, Mr. Nikos, you are not alone. Yesterday, Mr. Fiaz said the same thing. Like, and we can recommend something to PMI also, because only senior people give this exam. This is a exam for at least 8 years plus minimum experience, someone who is managing the program, and there is no break in the exam, right?
Correct.
So did you took the scheduled breaks or no? Or like, how did you, Mr. Samir, before we go to the application, how did you manage the exam, the anxiety, those 4 hours where the timer is running, you get big questions. So how did you move it in that way?
Your question is valid, Mr. Amir. So my strategy in general is because in the beginning I am more fresh. I can, I can read and reply the questions faster. So I did 2 breaks every 60 questions. So in the first 60 questions, I had a 5-minute break, and then in 120, I had another 7-minute break. And I also used some cold water, to pour in my face. It was really refreshing. At the end, I mean, after the first 120 questions, I had more than 1.5 hours left, and I used most of it because after that it starts to become exhausting. So I needed more time, and I finished the exam 15 minutes with 15 minutes spare. Only 8 questions to mark for review because I have discussed with Mr. Abdul. He suggested, and he was right, that I will be exhausted in the end. So it doesn't make sense to flag for review many questions. And I think that overall this strategy worked great for me.
Okay, Mr. Sami, please carry on.
So, continuing with the exam, how tough was the exam, and what were the relevancy of the practice that we have done during our mocks and this preparation?
Mr. Abdul, as I told you also when we discuss by phone, I think that honestly speaking, this exam is very tough. Why it is very tough? Because almost every question has a scenario, and some wording in every scenario has some very subtle details. So you must really pay attention to every word. In the PMP, for me, it was much easier, much more straightforward. But here, every single word counts. So, in every question, you need to understand properly the scenario, what is being asked, what is given as option, where you are in the program, in which phase you are. So it's not very straightforward. Okay. On top of that, the English in some questions is not proper, in my humble opinion. So you cannot properly understand what they ask. Or in some questions, in some answers, in some of the available choices, you cannot understand. It's not clear what the meaning. So
Okay.
you really have to guess. Now, coming to your second part of the question, the questions that we did in the course were very, in my opinion, very, very useful for 2 reasons. I mean, because someone can go through the questions and maybe remember some answers. I think this is a recipe for the disaster, in my opinion.
Mm.
The only way to address this exam is to understand. So the questions that we did in the course were very good, not only because, because you learn something, but because you can understand why the correct answer is correct and why the wrong answer is wrong. So if someone covers these questions, he can build a very solid foundation for the PgMP exam. And on top of that, if you combine these questions with the booklet, and of course, as you said, read again and again, I think this is a secret, not to lose any day. So every day you need to do something, not to lose the spirit. Otherwise, you forget. So if you approach this, then you will be prepared. And as you said, I didn't want to. Perhaps I could sit earlier for the exam, but I wanted to address it when I was feeling completely prepared. Okay.
Right. No, right. It's a very good suggestion also that only practicing the questions and cramming it will not help surely in the exam unless you have
No,
the thorough understanding and your concepts are clear. Why this option is here, why option is this is not here, what is being asked. That is a key point that we have learned from you. Okay. And in that case, then I will come to the coaching calls because as you mentioned that in order to understand the questions, because you were part of our training for the last 5 to 6 months, you watched a lot of coaching calls. Then we had the masterclass series, you were watching step number 5. Then we practice the questions, and always I am referring that we should watch the coaching call at least of the wrong answers while you are practicing it. So how effective are the coaching calls in your opinion?
very much. I think they really make a difference because in the coaching calls there is the reasoning why a question is correct and why some answers are wrong. I mean, if you follow properly this, it is a big advantage for every candidate. And what I did is I followed this. I did these questions. I did these coaching calls. And as the time progressed and my understanding got deeper, I did these coaching calls again. So I understood something more, something that maybe I have skipped, I have missed from the very first time. During the second or the third round that I passed these coaching calls, I understood something more. So this really helps to build a solid understanding. And I totally agree with you, Mr. Abdul. In my humble opinion, there is no way to cut corners in this exam. It is a tough exam, and someone must be very properly prepared. And there is no easy way. So you need to understand. I mean, at least for me, no other way. You
Right.
need to understand everything to go for the exam.
Right. Mr. Amir?
I really loved what he said. What he said, there is no other way, there's no easy way. If you want to become certified PGMP, you have to work hard. So putting that into context, it took 6 months from like December, then January, then February. How important the follow-up and the customized roadmap that Mr. Abdurrahim gave, that was critical for your preparation. How important that follow-up system was that Mr. Abdurrahim asked, hey Nikos, what's your status? How much you have done? Things of those nature.
It's very, how to say, it is it is a cherry on top, as we say. For me, it's very nice because I mean, I really appreciated these follow-ups, even sometimes during early morning or late night. But I mean, it helps you to be on track. And also, when you have done all this preparation and when you are approaching at the time of the exam, so when the deadline, let's say, is coming, this customized roadmap is very useful because at the end, you have a plan of what you need to do, what you need to revise, and I mean, how you should approach the last days, where you should give your focus on. You have maybe some anxiety, you have some, I don't know, maybe some second thoughts or whatever. You're tired, so this roadmap helps you to make it more particular, to make it more personalized to you. So do this, do A, B, C, and it will be fine. So very important for me.
Okay. Okay. A very important thing for the roadmap to work into that bit. Okay. Few things I wanted to understand, like when you were giving exam, were there any questions regarding team topic, especially about like you are a certified PMP. So I was having a discussion with the one of the PGMP that he was also a certified PMP. That he had team questions, cultural questions, those questions that you get normally on on PMP exam, like communication problem, something that was not covered in PGMP, but as a PMP you should know that. Did you have some questions there?
There were some topics about the team culture and the team structure and the respect and how to say, how you engage stakeholders, let's say. Yes, there were some questions, few questions, let's say, that how to say, that are as a continuance, come as a continuance from the PMP.
Mm,
Yes, and to have just allow me a comment, Mr. Amir. I really think that someone must have the PMP before going to PgMP.
mm, mm,
Maybe not necessary, maybe not mandatory, but I think it's great to have because
mm,
it's a very good
mm,
foundation to have PMP for the PgMP. Otherwise,
mm,
of course, maybe doable, but I think it's more challenging. But
mm,
anyhow, to come back to your question, so yes, there were some topics that could be can be a continuance, let's say, from the PMP, but
mm,
here in the PGMP, there were too many scenario questions. Almost every single question was scenario based. The answers
mm,
were more vague, as you know better than me. So the answers were
mm,
very vague, and you
mm,
really have to pay attention to every word. In the PMP, in my opinion, because I did it again some months before, so it's fresh also for me, it is much
yeah.
more straightforward. But PGMP is another
Uh,
story.
okay, okay. That's an interesting thing because that is something evolving from last few weeks and months, I would say, that they are now assuming that when you are doing a program management exam, you are a PMP and you know how to do those basic things that are coming in the exam. But that's a very beautiful thing that the scope is more challenging. The scope, the difficulty level, since you recently did PMP, is an entirely different thing. Okay, that's a very important thing into that. Okay, going back to again the exam, you already shared how you managed the time. You went towards two breaks. You did not review it. What was the length of the questions? That because now when normally when we are giving exam at home, we are doing mocks. Normal people have like 17 in screen, 19, but the PGMP exam normally the PSN guidelines is 24 in screen. And when you get a question that is four liner or six liner on the 24 in screen, that's a big question. So how was it for you? Because you mentioned it was lethargic, it was tiresome. So was it like the questions were more of towards two, three liners, or it was bigger?
I would say that 70% of the questions, 70, 80% of the questions were 2 to 3 lines.
Okay. Okay.
Very,
Two to
very,
three
very,
lines.
very few questions were one line, one sentence, and a few questions were more than 3 lines, 3 to 4 lines. So the vast
Hmm.
majority is 2 to 3 lines. The difficulty, Mr. Amir, I mean, I didn't have any difficulty because we also did in the class. I mean, in the long questions, you say you are the program manager in this in ABC company and you are doing the program for ABC reasons, blah 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 blah, and this is 2 sentences. So the real question comes after that. So I didn't have how to say I didn't have difficulty, let's say, in the length. The real difficulty was, as I said before, in the expression, in the meaning, because it was very vague. The English were sometimes particular, and
Hmm.
when the English were okay, you could not easily understand what was being asked. It is very tricky.
So what I understood that
Okay.
the main,
One.
yes,
Uh,
I will come to
Mr.
continue.
Samir, just one more
Yes,
question. Then I can give it back to you.
no problem.
So going back to the exam again, because I'm very much interested in that PGMP exam, apart from all the exams that we are doing, it is most evolving. In the last 6 months to 1 year, how it has changed entire dynamics. What about Agile? Since you recently did PMP, you know Agile inside out. Otherwise, you cannot do PMP, right? But many of the people who are construction professional, they haven't studied Agile at all. So did you see anything in Agile? Because not in the not in any of the exam content outline or PGMP standard 4 or 5, you don't have Agile. But past students, like 6 months back, if I go, there were many students who are reporting that there were questions on Agile. As a result, me and Mr. Sami, we did a master class on Agile specifically. So how it was for you, Mr. Nikos?
Actually, this is a good question, Mr. Amir, and I also forgot to mention this to Mr. Abdul. Yes, there were 5 to 10 questions with Agile, saying that you are a program manager in program ABC, which is using Agile approach, or which is using Agile
Hmm.
and hybrid approach. So some components Agile, some components hybrid. There were 5 to 10 questions about this. Yes.
Hmm.
But in my humble opinion, not very tough, because also in the course and in the booklet there is a section for Agile, so we have covered it, and I also had it fresh from the PMP. So for me it
Hmm.
was quite straightforward. But yes, you are right.
But
There were maybe 5 to 10 questions Agile.
so you should know at least minimum of the Agile thing. Otherwise, if you don't know at all, it can become challenging. Right?
Yes,
It can become.
absolutely,
It can
absolutely,
become.
absolutely.
Okay. Okay.
Actually,
Mr. Sami,
because,
over to you. Yeah.
yes, because of the nature of the PGMP exam, as I said, my humble opinion is that someone needs to be thoroughly prepared. So thoroughly prepared means you need to cover agile concepts as well.
You need to cover Agile. Okay. What about collaboration domain? Because this is something that is added in the new exam. From one when the exam transitioned in the month of November to December last year, then the collaboration domain was more added into the exam. So of course, you already mentioned the team topic is there, which overemphasize on that. Again, Agile is collaboration, but specifically from the collaboration domain, did you face any challenge or any questions in there?
No challenge. There were some questions, maybe 2, 3, 4 questions. It included, let's say, collaboration with the culture, with the team, and maybe some remote teams having difficulties or whatever, respect for the team, for the cultural norms, how you collaborate when there are different, let's say, time zones, etc. So yes, there were some collaboration questions, but to be honest, I mean, it was not very challenging. I think they were pretty straightforward.
Okay, so Mr. Nico, continue with the questions. How did you get any questions in which you had to select more than one option?
Yes, I had around 10 questions, 10 to 15 questions, I would say, that I had to choose two or three.
Okay,
I think 3 or 4 questions, I had to choose three correct choices. And another 8 to 10, I had to choose two. Okay.
okay,
And yeah, so there were 10 to 15 questions that had
multiple.
this. Yeah,
Okay, and any mathematical question?
not at all. No single calculation, nothing. There were just some questions which gave some formula
Mm-hmm.
and say what should the program manager do or what is the next step or something like this. So you needed to know what is the formula, but no direct calculation.
Very good. And also, we were talking about the thing about KPIs because we heard from multiple students that KPI is a dominant topic coming in PGMP. Do you get any questions regarding KPIs?
Yes, KPIs, a lot of questions with KPIs. I would say maybe around 20,
Okay.
either on the question or in the answers. So where do you define this KPI, or you have this KPI, how you measure it, or how to say, or what should you do for appropriate KPI, let's say monitoring or measurement.
Mm.
So there were, I would say, almost 10% of the exam. Okay, maybe I'm exaggerating, but I am sure about 20 questions that had the term KPI inside. Okay. Some of them were not easy, in
Mm.
my opinion. Some of them were really tough.
No, very good because it was a complete overview from your set on the exam. So if somebody has any question who is preparing or they want to ask any question, please just raise your hand. Okay, Mr. Nico, now you had already gave the exam. When we come to the preparation part, we have developed multiple color questions just for the easy reference, green, golden, blue, and purple. So, and then we also, I told you to do in certain sequence. First, we were following on the eco with the green one. Then we read the book also because, as per your understanding, I understood that you want to have a thorough understanding. So, what is the relevancy of those questions as per your opinion from the real exam? What are the most relevant nowadays?
I think purple, purple and blue. I would say purple first, then
Mm,
blue. Gold, not so much, and the mocks were okay as well because they had some how to say summary of knowledge. And the green, not maybe so relevant, even though I had maybe 5 to 6 questions that you are in the beginning of the program or in the middle and you need to update something. What should you need to update
mm.
to do whatever? So what I would say is the following: that in my opinion, Mr. Abdul, all the questions are relevant.
Right, because every question gives you some understanding. You are not cramming
Exactly.
it, you have to understand. And also, what about the eco? Because green was basically to understand the eco.
ECO is a funny document, as I told you in the past. It's a funny document. Why? Because it is like 10 pages, but every time you read it, every time I read it, I understood something more.
Mm,
Very funny document. So in the very beginning, I understood something, but in the end, when I was revising the ECO, I think I have revised the ECO more than 30 times.
mm,
So in the end, I had a completely, let's say, different understanding on top.
mm.
In my opinion, okay, maybe not so relevant, but again, it is the heart of the PGMP.
Right.
So I think that these green questions, maybe we don't have a question that says how to say which document does this. Okay,
Mm,
there is no such question in exam, but it's very important to build understanding. So in my opinion, unless someone is very pressed on time, I don't know, of course, it's really worth the time to go through these questions and understand. And this was my approach. I mean, I wanted to be thoroughly prepared. So my humble opinion, and let's say I cannot say advice because who am I to advise?
No, you are
But
you are the decent one. Yes.
come on, you are the boss. So the PgMP boss. So in my opinion, for someone, okay, let me say like this. My approach to certification is that I don't sit for the exam to take the certification. I just want to learn as much as possible because I want to apply this in my job. So, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, it is best if someone spends some more time to really understand the material, go thoroughly prepared, follow your advice, follow the course, this structure approach, revise everything, understand why something is correct, understand why something is not correct, very important, understand why some in every question the answers are wrong, very, very important, and for sure he will pass the exam. This is my opinion.
No, like no, very good. You beautifully summarize everything. And now only coming to the end. And actually, this was the first step. How difficult was the application? And I always said that once we are writing the application properly, it already start to build the foundation what the PGMP looks like. So, what is your opinion on the application part?
Application is very challenging, I think, for someone to do by himself, at least for me. And not only because, I mean, I am lucky because of my current employer and especially my current employer because he gave me this work experience that I needed to sit for the exam.
Mm.
But it's not easy to summarize because you need to summarize properly in 500 words or something like this.
Yeah.
It's very tough. So if you, how to say, if you do it by yourself, I think it's very probable that you will fail.
Mm.
So it's much more helpful and easy to when we did it together.
Mm.
So because I had this experience, but you helped me to formulate it properly and do a proper, how to say, a proper panel review. And I was very pleasantly surprised that this panel review passed in, I don't know, 2, 3 days. I don't remember.
Yes.
Very quickly. So I was really very, very happy. And you are right that it gives these questions, they give the very first, let's say, touch with the PGMP, and it's useful. I also revised this before going for the exam.
Ah, good. No, it's a very good thing that, and secondly, like you said, that panel review pass in 2 to 3 days. As per our current experience, the first step goes very fast within 1 or 2 days, and then the panel review takes maximum 2 weeks in our application because if you use a proper format and if you write the correct approach, what PMI is asking, then it goes very fast. So, thank you very much, Mr. Nico, for trusting us and having a great journey with you. It was a long journey, but it was really dedicated and thing. And I hope that we all learned each other. And now our mantra is each one teach one. So we have in the same batch, you have a lot of students who are still preparing for the exam. So you will be a source of motivation for them and and at the end very good score. I'm really happy for that because few domains were not good in the last 3 to 4 months, but now in the last 2 days Mr. Fiaz passed yesterday. He's also here. You passed, and the strategic alignment domain we covered a lot. And thank you very much for that. So, if you want to conclude with your closing remarks, you are please welcome to conclude this your journey.
I want to say thank you once again to you for the instruction, to Mr. Amir for the overall coordination, to the people from the Batch 11 and some other people from the WhatsApp group that I contacted privately after I saw their success, let's say, story. And I am really grateful for their cooperation and for sharing their experience with me. So this WhatsApp, let's say, if I may say, our PGMP community is very useful. And my last sentence would be that it is really worth to how to say it is really worth to properly prepare for this exam. It's no joke. There is no cut corners. It's very tough, but it deserves the pain. Let's say
Right.
it's great. So thank you a lot. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Nico, and have a great journey. Surely we'll be contacting for portfolio, and sure we will be in contact again. So
Absolutely.
please send your picture for the thumbnail of this success story, and then we stay in contact. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye. Bye.